Say kids, what time is it? PDR tool time.
Hey everybody, this is John Hiley with Mike Toledo, Vince D'Alessandro, Daniel Grom. He's going to be cutting in here in just a little while with another episode of PDR Tool Time. We do have special guest Ryan Hampton from the Hale Company. And if you guys haven't already guessed it by now and reading the title of this podcast, we are going to be talking about what's going on out there on the Hale Trail. Not only do we want to just get an update from Ryan of what's happening this year, how the Hale's developed, how it's, how everything's just kind of shook out for the year. But we're also going to talk about some tools and techniques, because some of you guys might not know this, although Ryan owns a big Hale company where he staffs decent-sized deals. He was actually at my shop at the Dents for Kids charity, and we recorded it. He is a really good dent guy as well. So, Ryan Hampton, introduce you to PDR Tool Time. How you doing, brother?
What's happening, fellas?
Hey, Ryan. What's up, Ryan?
What's up?
How you been?
I'm good. How about you?
We're doing good, man. We're chilling like a villain, man. So how's that Hale Trail out there for you?
It's been a busy year so far. Started off early, and it just really hasn't stopped yet. So it's been a long hail season. When was the first storm? I think it was March, I think. And it's been hailing almost every single day since then.
Right. I wish it would hail here in Ohio a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Maybe today.
You're ready for it.
So let me ask you something, Ryan. I notice you're tapping the desk a little bit, so the audience is going to hear that out there. But let me ask you a little something here, Hampton. So out there, what is the hail climate like? Has anything changed this year in comparison to what you've seen in the previous years? How is everything materializing? What type of deals are you staffing? What's going on out there?
I would say the biggest difference this year is there is so much hail. It changed supply and demand for the tech base, for the pricing that's going on. When they start talking about facility fees to body shops, dealership pricing on their hail inventory, everything was changed by the amount of hail that's out there, which is a good thing. All of them went to the favor of the technician.
Nice.
Meaning there's so much hail out there. People are not tripping over each other, trying to lowball deals. It's been a good year.
Right. So now have you been mainly doing, sorry, Vince, have you been mainly staffing car dealerships? Or are you mainly staffing body shops?
I did one set of dealerships in Texas, and after that, it's been mostly body shops. Got some body shops in Arkansas, Kansas City, St. Louis, Virginia, all body shops. And then there's one small dealer in Dodge City I'm helping a guy with right now. But I always try to do dealerships at the beginning of the year to get the quick, get the money under your belt, and then after that, get into a body shop that's going to last you into the fall. And that's kind of the way it went this year also. Doesn't always go that way. That's what you try to do, and luckily this year it's going that way.
Good.
Now, obviously, this year everyone's talking about Texas. Are there other areas of the country that are just as hard hit or medium hit? Not that you want to give away all your secret locations or anything like that, but, Texas got hammered, and it seems like all the chatter on the Facebook message boards and stuff all seems to be about Texas.
Well, there's really not many secrets anymore in the hail business. I mean, there's so many different ways to find out. Heck, Facebook alone, the dent guys give away their locations every 5 minutes. So, but if, a lot of guys were talking about a month ago about there's not enough techs anymore. There's not enough techs. There's always enough techs. If you remove Texas from the hail scene this year, there's really not a lot of hail. There's a bunch of cities like DC, Kansas City, St. Louis, Fort Smith, Arkansas was hit pretty good, and then all kinds of towns around the Midwest, but nothing major. You take away San Antonio and Dallas, and it's an average hail year.
Right.
Really, it's that the bet. There's so much, isn't there? So much going on in those two areas, though, right?
There is, and those are huge metropolitan areas. So, I think when Dallas got hit, they were saying it was one of the top 10 storms of all time. Yeah, those are my kids. Sorry.
That's all right.
And then when San Antonio got hit, saying it's the biggest storm in Texas history. So those are two major storms, and they both got hit 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So do you foresee like guys working there for upwards of a couple years? I mean, is that what's the type of forecast as far as the longevity of a storm like that?
Everybody always says, come on down here to a big storm. There's going to be work for a year. But in reality, a year hailstorm is not very common. Your customers aren't going to wait that long. When they start scheduling a year out, they're going to find somewhere else to go, even if it means traveling an hour and a half away. But those guys in San Antonio and Dallas will be working, down into October, November, and some even further along if they're local to the areas. But for the hail chasers, 6 months, 8 months on average, which is their year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Sure.
good.
Now, Ryan, you have something different this year too. You've set up your own retail location in Missouri, if that's correct, right?
Yeah, that actually started looking at that before the hail hit, and then we had that iCar thing in Chicago, and then it hailed in San Antonio, so I had to put it on the back burner. But once St. Louis got hit, it was let's hurry this thing up and get the ball rolling fast. So it was good timing on it. It worked out good.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. It's always a good step to step into a shop.
Right.
Yep.
That's how our very own John Hiley got his shop, was on a good hail season.
That's it. We talked about it. Yeah, the last episode. If anybody hasn't checked that out, check out all the last episodes of PDR Tool Time. You get a chance, write us a review. We love it. We like to hear from you guys, and we're loving all the massive 5-star reviews out there. So Daniel Grom just graced us with his presence. Daniel, you want to say hi
Hey
to the
guys,
audience?
how are you?
And I know you like to try to understand a little bit about the hail scene. So Daniel, you got any questions for Ryan, business wise, before we get into the tools?
Hey Ryan, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good. Well, guys like myself, and I'm sure there's lots of us out there that we get to see maybe 1 or 2 hail storms I see a year, and we're not always prepared for it, and I'm always worried about whether I'm on point as far as writing an estimate, and I usually end up calling 4 or 5 of my friends and say, hey, does this sound good? And the thing that I come up against, and I don't know how to handle it, it's always the hood. And the adjuster comes back and says, oh, I can buy a hood for less than that. And what would you say to a guy with that situation? How do you come back to an adjuster?
Well, we see that a lot too. And the bad thing is, if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of hail, then they will probably just put a hood on it. But when you have 100 cars lined up or a couple months worth of work, you can tell them to put a hood on it. And after about 2 or 3 of them and those cars sitting in the body shop, they're going to start paying to have PDR done. It's no, I know that kind of sucks. I know what you're saying, but if you've only got 1 or 2 jobs like that, they'll probably just go with the cheaper route.
Well, would it be better if I just knew what a replacement hood's going to cost and
Sure,
and just eat it for whatever that price just to get some work?
I guess that's up to you personally. I know there's a couple apps out there that have comparative pricing on the hoods, because usually if you're looking at pricing a hood out for a conventional repair, there's not a matrix or a guide out there that really goes that high.
Yeah.
So, you pretty much are going to base it off conventional pricing if you want to find out what it costs and see if it's worth your time. But we get that all the time. We'll get $100 over conventional. We'll get $1,500, $1,600 hoods because they know it'll be done. in one day rather than 2 or 3 days in the shop.
Yeah,
Right.
hey,
And you-
I'd like to answer a little part of that question if you don't mind me jumping in there on the hood thing, Daniel. One of the things that I got the same thing. I got an adjuster coming in and him, basically saying to me that, hey, look, we can replace this hood for the hood cost $800, to paint it, whatever, by the time it goes out of the shop, it's, going to be $1,200 or even $1,000 or something to that nature. And I look at him and say, well, are you counting blending the fenders? Are you counting detrimming the bumper? Are you counting taking out the headlights? Are you counting taking off the wheels so you can actually take off the plastic that's underneath the actual fender wells? So, hey, sorry guys, we got a we got a few things cutting in here, but the point of it is, it's not just about painting a hood. There's a lot of things that goes into actually painting an entire hood. I mean, you got R&I just out the gills to actually get a hood painted. So, that's something I want everybody to keep in mind, is that it's just not about the hood. It's about blending, things like that. Now, if you got a black hood, you're going to have to just count the hood, the R&I for it, to take it off, to hang it, to spray it, to clear coat it, all that good stuff, to put it back on, to mask the whole car off. Then that's the cost on a plain black hood. But you start getting into the pearls and you start getting into the tri-coats and things like that, you're getting way, way up there. Hey, Mike, it's sounding a little wild over there on your side, buddy.
That's good. How's it now?
We're picking up your kids there, Mike.
No, I think that was Mary telling Mike something.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're
No.
blowing out, Mike.
No.
Hey, what about there?
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's
It's not
a
bad.
$49
When I
mic.
talk, it'll go normal. So how's that? Is that good?
That's good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
real good, Mike. Go
When I
ahead.
talk, just
There's
edit.
a $49 mic that you can buy on Amazon that might
Oh,
work.
nothing's getting edited tonight.
I have that mic right here.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Ryan, when you're using, can you suggest some apps that you actually used? I know I use one. I'm pretty happy with it the way it is. It's the Mobile Tech RX, but you said there's other ones. What other ones would you suggest using out there? Or what do you think is pretty? Because I'm with Daniel. Once in a while, us California guys will get some hail, and we want to make sure it's written up right. We don't want to undercut ourselves. We don't want to, give it away. A lot of guys do try to cash out, especially the guys who come from Texas and they come over here and they got paid already, but now they think they want to get super cheap and they think we're going to do that. But I don't want to sell myself out. I'm pretty well educated out there, but there's a lot of guys who don't get hail, and once in a while they will run into a hail car. What do you suggest to write up a proper estimate with? What do you think people
Well,
should
when I
use?
said there's a couple different apps out there, I just said that because I didn't want to just throw one name out there. But in all honesty, I really can't suggest very many. I've only used one, and that's the Mobile Tech RX app. For me, it works perfect. I can have subcontractors underneath there, and pretty much anything that I need for hail, it's in there, including comparative pricing. There's some other ones out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head though.
That's
I don't know
okay,
if Raymond
man.
Staps is still out there.
Yeah, that's good, man. If that's one you like, that's
Yeah.
what our listeners want to hear. You
Yeah,
know?
that's the one we use. Everybody's using it, it seems. When I first got it, I was concerned how hard it was going to be because I've never written like car estimates on CCC, so I thought it was going to be one of those hard to understand, hard to figure out things. But man, it's on your iPhone now. You can write up a full hail estimate in 15 minutes, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
You're right about that. I mean, we actually was doing WebEst for a while, and I mean, it seems like it takes forever to write collision-style estimates. I mean, you're going through. I mean, the way it was laid out, it was like you're trying to find like 10 minutes just to find a part, and when you finally find it, it's this diagram that's weird. I mean, and you got to kind of like make guesswork out of some of that stuff, and you got to call the dealer, stuff like that, just to make sure that's the part you want. So I'm kind of glad that hail damage is definitely much more straightforward. And just a heads up, so any of you Dent Trainer members out there, go to denttrainer.com, and we actually have a hail estimating certification course. It's literally an hour-long of video training doing a basic, intermediate, and advanced hail repair estimate, and then you got to take a test and you got a downloadable certificate. So this just makes sure that you understand everything. And, hey, what's the certificate worth? Well, I'll tell you what it's worth. I had a guy come up to me at the Mobile Tech Expo last year and told me he made an additional $60,000 the year that we launched that, just off of learning how to write proper estimates. So get on over
That's
to
awesome.
denttrainer.com. Your membership will pay for itself over and over again if you don't know how to write hail and you're looking to learn how to.
So, hey, Ryan, one other thing I want to know. When you set up for a car, what light are you using and how many? And what hail rod are you working with? Are you working with a carbon fiber, and which one?
Well, the answer to both of those, I'm using Ultra. I know I have a couple of the Pro PDR Solution fatheads, but they seem to be too heavy for the top panels. I've gone back to I have 2 Ultra LEDs, the new ones, the 36 inches, I think they are.
Okay.
I'll use 1 for the sides and then 2 for a roof. And then on my roofs for the long bar, I still use my Ultra breakdown. It just works for me with I think it's, who's Sal Giuliano's company? Is that PDR Gear?
Dent gear.
Dent
Dent Gear, yeah. I use their crossbar with the chain on it, and then the Ultra breakdown rod, and it works out good. But the Ultra lights, I mean, they're not as wide as the Pro PDR, but they're so maneuverable, and they don't tend to fall on you because they get kind of heavy, top heavy when you're up on an SUV roof. And the last thing you want is one of them, they lose their grip on the, what do you call it, like the the tension bar to tighten them down.
Yeah.
They tend to fall. On the Ultra one, you put it up there and it stays there, and got to move it a little bit more, but I know it's safe.
Yeah, I use the Ultra light stand, but I use the Pro PDR Solutions fathead because they have a great knuckle joint, and I ended up I really like their knuckle joint, the way they designed it, and that combination, marrying those two, works really well for me.
Well, Ultra now's got a 36-inch wide, kind of like a fathead version now. So used to be 4 foot. They had a 4 foot. Now they got a 36-inch wide. So
nice.
You guys should check that out.
See, I'm right with Hampton on that. I mean, I use the exact same ultra lights that he's talking about. They're the normal size ultra lights, LEDs, and I freaking love them. I've tried different lights, and like he said, sometimes it's too heavy, and they are, in my opinion, one of the most reliable lights out there. Now, I did see a Chubby light. One of my students came in and was actually using a Chubby HD, and I did fall in love with it, so I felt like I was kind of cheating on my ultralight occasionally. But in that regard, I didn't buy one, and I may in the future, but man, them ultralights are legit. And like Ryan just said there, people don't take an accountability that, yeah, you got to move them a little bit, but being so versatile and thin, being able to, just get in and out when you're doing hail repair, I love that.
Yeah, Vinny, you have a Chubby light, don't you? Like a little mini Chubby, don't you?
I do, yeah, a little 17-inch one that I use for.
I saw it. It looks good.
It's super lightweight. I was always worried about the structure of it being really flimsy and flexible, but I've had it for 2 years now. No issues with it at all. It's a good light.
Nice.
Yeah, when Mike asked Vinny if he had a little mini Chubby, it actually almost turned into "that's what she said" joke there.
Yeah. Well.
No, Ryan, what hail tools do you use, like wires and things? What's your set? What's your go-to set?
Man, I go back to Ultra again. I got the Ultra hand tools, Dentcraft whale tails, just a selection of 4 or 5 different ones, and then the Dentcraft side door panel kit. I think there's 7 of them, the little black handled ones, different lengths.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yep. And then I've got the Carl Stuckey glue gun, but I've been the guys have been using that Black & Decker one. Have you seen that new glue gun?
Yeah. Actually,
man, that's awesome.
I got it, and I was reading online. One guy said it got hot in a minute, and I thought, well, that's an over exaggeration. So I got mine. I set it up, and it was only $40. It was really cheap, and I had some Black & Decker garden tools, so I had a bunch of batteries. So I'm like, I'll spend my $40 and find out what this thing's about. So I hook up my iPhone, put the stopwatch on it. I turn the thing on. Literally 1 minute, glue is coming out of the nozzle. I was shocked.
I did the same thing today. Woody Koss bought one. And I said, has it been on yet? He said, nope. I clicked it on and I waited. And I don't know, I didn't time it, but it was around a minute, and that glue was
it's
coming out. I said,
it's
"Doggone!"
fast. The bad thing is that it doesn't have a a temperature
control.
dial control on it, which I do like on the Stucky.
Stucky.
But I haven't tested how long it lasts. Did you notice how long it lasted on that battery?
I didn't. I was just there to check it out when it started up.
Yeah.
But I have the first generation Stucky, and it doesn't have a temperature control on that one either. It's just got an on-off switch on the battery.
Okay.
So I just keep one plugged in, and
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, you've been to a lot of different sites. You probably have like 50,000 miles on your truck this year for hail damage, I would think, driving around. But what have you walked into a lot of shops and been like, wow, that's a really cool tool that I haven't seen, or do you notice a trend of a certain tool or certain tabs or certain something that seems to be trending right now towards being pretty awesome?
well, that carbon tech rod that you
Zimmerman.
guys are Daniel, yeah, Todd Zimmerman's rod. That's a pretty neat rod. A couple of the guys have that one. The edgy tool stuff seems to be pretty cool. I've seen the knockdowns. They're a little awkward for me because they're kind of wide, but I do like his the hook. You know, that's pretty. You can double those up and go into taillight pockets. But what was that thing I was just talking about the other day? That was pretty neat. The Black Plague tabs. I know they've been out for a couple years. I started using them a lot more this year because my Atlas were slowly disappearing one at a time, and man, those things pull pretty good.
Now, which ones are you referring to? The black ones, the gray ones?
They're
the green ones.
I got like a variety pack from somebody. They're round. They're smooth tabs. I got a little crease tabs. I got like 20 different ones, and it doesn't matter which kind I use. I use it the first time, and it really doesn't pull, but I guess it burns the release agent off because the second and third time they start to pull, and man, they pull pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're my go-to tabs most of the time.
Now, are you
How long-
actually
They surprised
Hampton,
me.
Are you using the gray ones or are you using the green ones?
The gray tabs.
Okay.
Yeah, they
See,
still pull good.
Yeah, the gray tabs have a lot of flexibility compared to the green ones, and I kind of like the way that you can actually flex them inside of a dent. So I've actually noticed that the curvature, you can actually set it inside of one. But them green ones are legit too. I recommend that Hampton, you get a chance to grab some, dude. The new green Black Plague ones, they would be much stiffer, but they definitely got a nice hard pull for hail.
Yeah, I don't change many things very often. So the Atlas tabs, they've always worked for me, but they start to gum up a little too much over time. So I just grabbed a couple of the smooth ones from the cart, and
Yeah.
now they're my go-to.
Dude, I
Nice.
love the Atlas tabs. I don't care what anybody says about them.
Me too.
Them things, dude, I love them, and I go to them all the time for a convex tab. They are my absolute favorite. Now, the little tiny ones suck. Don't get me wrong. The little tiny ones, if everybody wants to judge the little tiny ones, you can take them little tiny ones and just chuck them off a bridge or something or cram them somewhere because they suck. But the mid-size, the nickel size on up, man, I'm telling you, you can freaking, like I said, I can take that mini lifter and turn it into a car crusher. I can crush a car through my mini lifter with them tabs.
Well, I like to know what everyone's using all the time, but are you using mainly a mini lifter when you're pulling, or are you slide hammering? Are you doing a little combination of everything, Ryan?
Me, I don't even have a mini lifter. I know a lot of people say they're the best way. I've never owned one. I just use a slide hammer, controlled pulls. Just
There you go.
never used the mini lifter.
Just like a tick tick pop. Like what
Yep.
is it? One
Yeah,
of
see,
those?
I'm the opposite. I barely use my slide hammer. I always use my mini lifter. That's fun.
I see guys using it and see some serious pulls, but it's just what I've been used to.
I was born with the slide hammer in my hand, man. I'm telling you, it's like me and you are like a brother from another mother, Hampton. I mean, I mean,
Well, we all have slide hammers. You just got to know how to use it. That's all. Dude. So-
That's right.
Now, what
the
slide hammer
original
do you have?
toy, the original toy.
What slide hammer do you use?
The pull dog. Jordan Fisher was selling them for a while over at TDN. It's the spring-loaded one.
Yeah,
It's
those
got-
look really
you
nice.
can make it short. They are. You can control the pull again with the tension you put on the spring, and you can move it. You can adjust the length of it from. It's like a 6-inch difference. There's like a little set screw, and you can take the pulling end down or up. It's got 2 different holes, so you can make it short like the Drews, or you can make it a little bit longer.
Does
Do that
anybody
again?
sell that
Do-
in the States?
I don't know. I don't think they sell them anymore. Jordan was saying that they're either went out of business or they quit selling them or quit making them.
Right. So, but you're actually saying the pull dog, because I've never used one of them before. You can control the tension of the spring.
Yeah, you got the top hand, where your top hand's at. You pull up
Yeah.
the top here, you can screw the top down. There's a spring on there, and it just gives it more
nice.
of a. When you hit the top, it's either a hard hit or a
Yeah.
real soft, bouncy hit. So it helps.
See, and for everybody out there, that spring technique, Bryce Rockhill, I think, was one of the first people that I've ever heard that came up with that. And what that is, you just take a spring and you put it on the back of your slide hammer, and it doesn't allow the slide hammer to crack the back so hard, so it doesn't like rip the tab away from the glue. It gives more of a yanking pull rather than a snapping pull. Now, I wouldn't like that all the time, though, Hampton. Do you actually use that all the time? Because I like a lot of snapping. I like a snapping pull as well.
No, I don't even adjust it. I leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I don't own a mini lifter, so it's just a more of a feel.
Right.
Get used to the same thing.
Well, I think that's the beautiful part about our industry. There's so many different ways of fixing something. You have 5 guys here right now, and if you had a dent and all of us had to fix it, we'd probably approach it 5 different ways or with 5 different tools.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about doing hails. When you're next to 10 different guys, you see 10 different techniques that are being done, and they all pretty much have the same result in the end. And maybe you lack a little bit in this area, but that guy's really good at blending, and you're picking up some techniques from him blending, and maybe you're just good at friggin' doing oversized stretch dents, and he's picking up tips from you. I mean, it's just an awesome thing to be around when you can see a bunch of different techs doing things their own way. It's like a bunch of cooks, and they all have their own recipe, and they're doing it. But hey, at the end, does it taste great? You know what I mean? So that's what I like about this industry.
There's
Ryan-
Mike with the food references always.
I always do that, man. I tell my wife, man, I go, boy, girl, you look good, man. I'm going to put some barbecue sauce on you and work you like a rib.
Dude, you hungry or what? You hungry?
All the time, man.
Hey, Ryan, when you approach a hail car, do you have a certain pattern that you adhere to of how you approach it? And are you comparably fast, or are you slow and steady? How would you compare to other techs as far as speed goes?
Well, I don't know if I would say I was slow or fast. I mean, I can keep up with whoever I split cars with. But I mean, I've been doing it 15 years. I know what I'm doing. I usually start on the lightest side of the vehicle. I'll put a light on the fender. I'll know which side's heavy, which side's light. Start on the light side. Do the side panels, hit the rail. It's a mental thing for me. Now I've got half the car done in my head. I know it sounds weird, but now I know.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Left side, and then top panels. Just pick a top panel. Roof usually last because it's the easiest panel to work for the most part. So I'll save that. Deck lids are my favorite, so I'll do them first after I got the sides done. So deck lid, hood, roof, and then go around it one more time.
Gotcha.
What's the most what would you say the most challenging hail car, common hail car? Not the one, not yet what you've ever worked on, but the most common challenging hail car that you see a lot.
Nobody likes the Volkswagen Jettas. The deck lids are completely sealed up. There's a couple access points. Ford Mustang hoods, Honda Pilot hoods. As far as an overall car, say probably now the F-150. Those things are a bear. Aluminum from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. The freaking new Chevy trucks as well, man. That high strength steel is freaking. It's like I'm figuring it out and I'm getting them done, but I still feel that there's a dent trainer tutorial coming on this. But I am actually still in the process of processing what the heck is going on with high strength steel. I mean, on these specifically on Chevy trucks. I mean, I had one in here the other day on a regular steel car. It would have taken me probably an hour, and this one took me probably 2.5 hours, this type of dent. And it was just when you'd go to knock down the highs, it'd shoot shallows around it, no matter how fine of a tip you used. And it was just a lot of working up and down on these new Chevy trucks. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but that's what I'm feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's no fun.
But I've found sometimes I've worked on them, and it's worked way easier than some others. And I can't figure that out. I'm like, God, I worked that dent just last week, and I had trouble with it, and now it's almost identical, same dent, And this time it's working easy, and I don't get that.
You're getting better, Daniel. You're getting better.
Maybe.
Getting used to it.
No, I'm right with you, dude. I know. It's weird. I think the vehicles are changing so much, especially everything going towards aluminum now. Yeah, it's kind of a good thing, Ryan. Once you think, man, it's kind of weeding out the guys who just could get by, and now you really got to step up your game really quick. And I'm glad that glue polling's actually coming out really good because you need every bit of help you can, especially with this new stuff that's coming out. And
I'd like to have a car lot full of Chevy Cruisers and Toyota Camrys, and I'd be happy. Those
Buicks.
Yeah.
I think you also touched on something, Ryan. It's a mental thing because, besides Daniel, Daniel hasn't really seen volume hail damage, but when you have a ton of cars in front of you that have to get done, I think there is a mental state that you have to get into when you're doing that much repetition. You're going to be parked at a body shop for months. You have all these cars. It's just a revolving door, and there's definitely a mental state that you have to put your brain in while you're, fixing 100 dents on a car, 200 dents, 1,000 dents on a car. It's definitely something that not everyone could do. Not everyone could do well.
Yeah, it's extremely mental. I tell the guys all the time when they start to go into funks that fixing dents is what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you know how to do already. It's all the intangibles that you go through every day. You got to make those, you got to create a system for that. If you get everything around you organized and smooth, the hail system itself is going to be easy for you every day. The estimating the cars, keeping your stall clean, good relationship with the body men and the shops around you. Even more important, staying in touch with your family back home, visiting often, R&I, trim panels, anything you do other than fixing dents, pay attention and focus on doing a good job on all of that. The fixing dents is going to come natural. But yeah, if your head's not into it, it'll mess you up.
Hey,
we had a guy in St. Louis. Yep.
Right. Hey,
now, do you have a set of crew of guys that you try to stay with?
There's a bunch of guys out there that I would love to work with all the time, but they're not always available. So I would say there's a huge pool of guys that I lean on heavily, but there's never the same guys. I mean, we've got 6 or 7 guys in St. Louis, and really 2 of them I've worked with before,
I got a question for you, Hampton. I know a lot of our audience, or at least a good portion or a part of our audience, would want to hear this, or at least hear you try to explain it. Now, what if you're a new guy? Let's say you're a 3-year tech, you're starting to get good, and you want to get out there and get onto the hail trail. You want to get into that circuit. How would a guy go about plugging into that? What would you recommend that a guy like that does? He's leaving his route, he's moving on, or let's say he worked for a company, he's getting out there on his own. How would he move forward and getting into the hail circuit?
Man, that's a tough question. There's I would say Facebook, but that's not always the best way. You can get bombarded on there pretty quick, my guys. But networking any way you can. You're finding out the companies that actually hire technicians, reaching out to them personally, email. There's all kinds of ways to find out what their contact information is. I had a kid come in this year and just sit down on a bench and just started fixing a hood. And I didn't think he was a good tech. He's working for us now full-time in a body shop. Sometimes you just got to go out there and show them what you can do. I've heard stories of guys going into dealerships that are already staffed and just walking up saying, hey, give me a dent to fix. If I can't fix it, send me down the road. It's hard to get started in hail. It really is. You got to know people. In fact, most people, I think they get started chasing hail already know somebody that's either trying to coerce them to go on the hail trail or somebody that they've met at home that chases hail. So you usually have an initial contact that gets you out there. And then if you decide to go and you use that contact, you got to start, connecting with other guys you see on the road.
Right, and
it's kind of a snowball effect.
I want to quickly play like kind of the opposite of that because I believe that it being hard is a little bit of a limiting belief, that some of us hold because we understand what it took for us and the courage it took for us to at one point and get involved and get where we're at currently today. But I'm here to tell you, I think that if somebody goes out there and they're determined in 1 to 2 to 3 days, they show up at that hailstorm and they are determined to walk into every door, shake every hand, and put action behind what they do, they're gonna get a deal, you know. And I'm a living example of that, Hampton. I actually was at a storm right here in Columbus. I was 3 days late and showed up there and kind of got involved in a bad deal. Next thing you know, I'm 3 weeks into the storm and I got to find a place, right, to go. I got to find a place to work. And I went to the phone book, man, and just started, no kidding, I ended up with AA Automotive. So, like, ended up going to the phone book, started with the A's, and ended up at this body shop / mechanic shop. And this place looked like crap, okay? But I said, hey, you know what? I'm walking in there. I'm shaking his hand. I walked in there. I remember the guy's name today. His name was Ronnie Collins. Shook my hand. He said, the dent guy's here. Went in there. There were 7 or 8 cars sitting there. Guy knew everybody in town. He had the Krispy Kreme account in Columbus. Landed that deal, Hampton, and I'm going to tell everybody out there, I was broke at the time. Like, I was borderline like, hey, if I drive home, I don't have the money. I had a guy that screwed me out of $10,000 a couple months before that. So I'm sitting here broke, sitting in Columbus, gotten a bad deal, and I need to go somewhere else. Ended up at a place that day, and I'm going to tell y'all this right now. That was the very first time, within a month, I was able to walk into my closet, and I had stacks of hundreds that was taller than a... That was the very first time that I landed it and felt like I made it. So, and this guy Ronnie, right? He's telling me, he's like, we make big money here, okay, in this crappy but giant body shop that he does all of Krispy Kreme. Nicest guy ever. He looked like Richard Simmons, but like a hillbilly version, round head, round haircut, you know. And he literally said, we make big money here. When you guys do a car, I don't even got to wait for the insurance company to pay me. Here's your check. Write it out to your name. Go to my bank right down the road. They'll cash it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people do have to make their own deals. I mean, I think that's another thing. I knew a couple guys that go out there and get their own deal all the time. I'm pretty surprised but they're making it. But Ryan, one other thing too is what I learned out in the hail trail when I was working with, well, the first time me and Vince were working in 2010. What I learned in that deal was the biggest deal I think I learned. Vince is a pretty damn good hail. You surprised me, dude, too, Vinny. Anyways, I learned, even though I was fixing all kinds of things, what I learned biggest was don't be a hero. Okay. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest thing and I had to, basically these guys were just killing it, just doing 2-3 cars, like almost in one day. And I was sitting there doing 1 car and maybe a car every day and a half, whatever it was. Vince was doing all right. But I learned, I can fix that. No, dude, I'll fix that, dude. And it was like, yeah, you go ahead and fix that. and basically, they knew they could fix it. They knew I could fix it, but I was trying to be a hero. That was hailstorm number 1. The other hailstorm I learned with, and when I was with Joe Thompson, was a system. You got to have a system. So I want to talk about your system, because there's guys that sit there and look at a roof and they go, look, I'm not going to, go ahead and tackle, I'm going to do this dent, do this dent, do that dent. They had a tool cart. They were going after certain types of dents and then with certain type of tools, and they made them really efficient. They weren't wasting a lot of time. Is that something like what you're doing? I know you said mentally you start with the left side and yada, yada, but do you have a system of how you tack dents or the way you go about it?
Well, like I said, I do light side first, then the heavier side, and then the top 3 panels. But I would say the only time a system on repairing dents comes into play is on my roofs, when I put 2 lights up on the side I'm fixing, and I'll work across and crossing at the same time. But before I go bring my light back over, I will bring my tool cart over there, flip my light sideways, and clean up that 2 to 4 inch area on the side, and then bring the lights back over there, fix the side. So it's probably 5 or 10 minutes you're saving on that panel by moving your lights 2 times instead of 4 times. But other than that, man, I just stick with, one side at a time. And, you always keep your cart close, always keep your, everything right there by you.
Speaking of cart, what cart are you using?
The TDN tool cart, the smaller version.
Smaller version, yeah.
Have you seen anyone with the moonlight out there using the new moonlight for hail? And how's it working out for them?
I seen the moonlight one time last year.
That's it.
Yep, the first storm of the year last year down in Missouri.
Well, how'd you do with
I
it?
see. I know he won it. He was the guy that won the moonlight at the MTE. So, I didn't really pay attention to how well he did with it. But I've seen a lot of pro PDR and a lot of ultra lights out there this year.
Got it. Yeah, I do see a lot of ultra stands. That's for sure. I might see the combination of different lights on the ultra stand, and I have to agree with you, Ryan. It is very important that your light doesn't fall over or tip over, because the second you got the light up or you take the battery off the tray, you better make sure that that light is basically down and not out and stretched out across the pole. So yeah, I agree. Well, cool. What else we got going? You sound pretty quiet over there, Daniel, man. You usually got like 15 questions going, dude. Let's go, man.
Where have you been working, Ryan? Maybe you answered this question already.
I'm the last month in St. Louis at home.
Nice.
So they got guys in body shops right now. The active ones, there's 2 in West Virginia and 2 in Arkansas, and I'm pretty much hands off. So the guys make a much better percentage for working out there, and it's just you use that app. You're talking about the app earlier. I use that Mobile Tech R app, and it just keeps everything in tune. It's amazing. So it's funny how an app itself, if you're in the hail game, can actually help you stay organized too, because it's all in that app. You can see what everybody's doing. You can bill through it. Statement. It's pretty cool. You don't have the paperwork coming back and forth or the questions on the phone. It's all electronic. So
yeah, that's nice.
But yeah, Arkansas, West Virginia, and Missouri right now. But yeah, Mike mentioned the 2010 storm. I walked into a hotel out there like 2 days after it hailed, and I see Mike Toledo and John Avocado in there. And I didn't know neither one of them. This was before my online days. I just looked at Mike and I said, "Man, I know you from somewhere." He's like, "Yeah, probably YouTube."
Shut up, man.
No, he did not say that, but I did recognize him from his YouTube videos before that. He was pretty cool.
I got my ass handed to me there. So
Hey, tell him about the F-150 truck that we split.
No, why don't you tell them that, dude? Go ahead. You have a better memory.
No, I've wiped it from my memory.
Have you guys seen that F-150 and Chevy ad where they're dumping bricks in the back?
Yeah. I think what Daniel's saying is they're dumping bricks in the back of
Man,
the F-150.
That doesn't look good.
Right.
He's pulling a weekend at Bernie's again.
Yeah. Hey, every once in a while, we make fun of him. He just sits there and goes,
Yeah. So do you.
Yeah, Mike, you've been freezing up a lot. Actually, you just froze up right there. Is everybody seeing that?
Yep.
I always like to joke and act like I am. I'm like. So what the audience doesn't know here is that we can actually all see each other. So occasionally on this, we're all on a Skype call, and occasionally somebody freezes, and they freeze in some of the funniest situations. And just because of that, we almost got to hold back from laughing. And so anyhow, guys, I think we are going to take a quick commercial break here, and we'll be back with some tech tips here shortly.
Veteran PDR techs thinking about getting into motorcycle PDR, or perhaps you already are, but you don't have that professional stand. Well, the new Daniel Grom MPDR Vice 2.0 offers the ultimate gas tank setups with better leverage, stability, and access when it comes to those challenging dents. Order your MPDR Vice Stand 2.0 at motopdr.com. It's right smack hail season now, and what better timing than to have a hail damage video explaining the short and engaging repair process. At Den Trainer, we just released a new video about the steps a consumer needs to do after the vehicle has been hit with hail. It's called It Hailed, What's Next? A professional video with your company logo and information. For more details and cost, please visit dentrainer.com/store.
All right, everybody, we are back. We are back with guest Ryan Hampton. So we're talking about tech tips here. Hampton, now I know I told you about that earlier. You got one lined up for us. You want to hear us go first?
You go first.
All right, Vinny, Daniel, Mike, somebody, anybody but me.
You know
I
what?
got one.
I am out of tech tips today, man. I wasn't prepared, so and
Drink.
I don't want to sit there and
Drink.
drink a shot.
Drink Rockstar. It will make you faster.
Drink Rockstar.
Energy drinks.
I did that in 2010, though. Yeah, I did. So, go ahead, Daniel.
Come on, you the tech tip man. You even got a list.
Yeah, I do. That's my tech tip. Make a list. No. So on truck beds, I learned this one from a guy that body shop guy, and when you're taking off, I might have mentioned this one before. Hopefully, I didn't. I can't remember. But when you're taking the top caps of beds, the little plastic piece on the bed, top of the beds, and when you're getting those off, the best thing I found to use is a
Wedge.
a wedge or a bone, and you get the top of that first part open, and if you can hit the side of it, it'll click that first one without breaking it. Because that's the key, is getting that thing off. You gotta get that first one, because if you break that first one, then it's loose on the end, and parking it out in the sun, getting it hot, or putting your heat gun on it, getting it warm, so that plastic doesn't break on you. And if you can hit that side of it, it'll knock that first one loose, and then you can get a grip on it. And then what the guy showed me is just rocking it back and forth, and you'll rock the things out. But what I do is I go along the one side, and I try to hit it with my window wedge or a bone, and a window bone, and get it to release on one side. That way you're not breaking all the tabs when you're trying to get that piece off.
Well, that's a good one, Daniel, because I usually always break the first one right at the edge.
Yeah.
That one always pops in. Here's my tech tip on top of that. Always have double-sided tape with you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I do the same thing you guys do. But I like the heat thing, Daniel. But once I get that first one off, I just pull it up and I yank just really hard, and I just pull it up.
Try rocking it back and forth. You'll find that it'll release a little bit easier.
But I have really good super glue too. So.
Right. I only got dent guy glue, tab weld. You know, stuff holds up all right. Put them on an oh shit handle. No, that's not a good idea. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump in with my tech tip, guys. Now I'm gonna talk about this thing. It's something that I've been talking about for a while, and it's gonna lead into a couple things here. But the first thing I want to talk about is awkward angle first. So when you step up to a dent, I want people to start thinking one step ahead. Okay, so you walk up to a dent and you know that you're gonna have a hard cross-check angle, right? So you know that, hey, I'm gonna be able to lift this dent up, but then when I go to finish it out, my cross-check angle is going to be hard. I'm going to be up against a mirror, or I'm going to be up towards the front of the door, something to that nature. What I want to encourage people to do is start trying this out. Do the awkward angle first. So essentially, you're lifting the dent from the awkward, hard angle, and you're doing the easy part first, okay? So then you come in from the other angle, and you're at the very easy, much more manageable cross-check angle to actually finish the dent out whenever you need them fine detailing skills, okay? So that's something I want you guys to think about when you're out there, and it's going to help you essentially map the dent. So whatever angle you're pushing, you're going to be creating almost lines that need to be cross-checked from the other side, okay? So essentially, when I talk about mapping a dent, looking in natural reflection to see where the crease lines are going, so you need to line your light up with the creases at the finishing level of a dent, essentially you're setting up what the map's going to look like, and you're putting it at an angle that's easier to repair than the harder cross-check angle. So hopefully that made sense. Okay, did that make sense to you guys?
I do that. Yeah,
Yes.
I like that.
That's pretty smart.
Good. So what do we got here, Hampton? Give us a tip, brother.
Well, we're talking hail. I mean, honestly, I think the best tip you could have is what we talked about earlier: is using a smart estimating system. I mean, it's going to make you more money. That would be my tech tip. Use an estimating system and get rid of the paper.
Nice. Yeah.
I know it's simple, but that's what it is.
What were, you
Mobile
using
Tech RX.
what were you using before that?
I had a matrix on a sheet that I would hand in for an estimate, and then I would hand in a smaller invoice, 3-part invoice, and then I would hand in a weekly statement with a list of all of those invoices. Now it's just punch them in the phone and connect them into QuickBooks. Actually, Mobile Tech RX is coming out with, I don't want to speak for them, I don't know how soon, but they're going to have the app to where you can actually create and send statements directly from the app, so you don't even need QuickBooks, which that would be really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something real quick, Hampton. When you send supplements, do you send a whole estimate, or do you send just a partial estimate, or do you have like a supplement sheet?
If we have a supplement, if the numbers aren't right, I just toss the sheet aside and write up a whole new estimate and send it through.
Yeah, that's what I do as well.
You run into a situation sometimes where they might have $100 on a panel or 150 and you got 100. So what? I mean, it's legitimate. I don't need to copy all their numbers that are actually better than mine and then bump the other numbers. I just write up a full estimate the way it should be and send a new one in.
Okay, good.
Now, what device are you using? Have you been using an iPad, and have you used the estimate on your iPhone yet?
Yeah, I actually bought a couple
liking that?
iPads. Yeah, I bought a couple iPads with cellular service, so I didn't need internet, and used them for a couple months, 3 months, and just when the update came out last week for the iPhone, I couldn't download it fast enough, and it's seamless. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
And again, I'm not just saying to use that one, but any smartphone-based estimating system that you like, if it works, use it.
No, I agree. I've been using it for my customers, man. It's freaking legit. I like it.
It really is. It is.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Right.
I'm just trying to get my wife to go full time into that now. So she's missed QuickBooks. So she's like, nah, I want to do it. She likes paper. I don't know why, but
Well,
that's another
my
story.
wife does all my paperwork and she knows more about it than I do now. But if you get a guy working for you, I mean, if you get hail in your hometown and you got somebody else working for you and one of the body shops has questions on a car, you can whip out your iPhone and click on that client and that invoice and you got an answer for them while you got them on speakerphone. So there's so many advantages, not just estimating and tracking for pay, but any shops have questions, any techs have, it's all right there in the palm of your hand.
Well, let me ask you this, Ryan. When you're doing the estimate and you're turning it in, are you turning it into the insurance or are you turning it into the body shop?
Well, if we're doing a retail job, we'll send it into the insurance. And if you're working for a body shop, you send it to the body shop.
Okay. And the insurance companies have no issues with Mobile Tech RX, a version of it? None at all?
No, they like that, huh?
The body shops
like
might rewrite it to their liking. Occasionally they'll have to run it through their system, especially if they're DRP. Wonderful questions there, guys, but we're going to move on we're on the tech tip section. So, Vinny, what you got for me, brother?
I got nothing. Move on.
Come on, man. Tell us about your screwdriver tool.
What screwdriver tool? No. I made one for Mike years ago. He never used it.
Right,
you should have given it back to me.
So Vinny actually bends a snap-on screwdriver into a pretty cool little tool there. And what is that? What doors do you use that on, Vince?
Well, when I initially made it, it was for BMW doors and Mercedes doors, where the belt moldings are really tight up against the window. And I needed a shave tool to get down there. This was before shave tools, so I took a 17-inch snap-on screwdriver, stuck it in a vise, heated it up red hot, and bent it, and then grinded it down on the sides. It was actually an old Dent Wizard thing that we used to do. So I can't really claim fame to it at all. But Mike, I made you one of those. I don't know if you ever used it or not.
Yeah, it's in the I think the Hall of Fame of old school PDR tools.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Because nowadays, manufacturers make the same tool.
Hey, do you guys keep your broken tools? I got like a graveyard of them. It's like I can't let them go, man. I look at them and I just walk up to
Now
them
you
occasionally and say,
take other tools out.
I'm like, yep, half-inch rod. I broke you. Yeah.
Take him to the bench
I was-
grinder, dude. What are you talking about?
Send it out to Daniel. He'll
That's
create
Daniel.
resurrection.
Put a
Yeah.
tap in the end of it, you know.
Daniel's like Mad Max with tools, dude. He's got like stuff over there, graveyard stuff.
Right. So Mike, tech tip, brother.
That's the proto.
I don't have one, honestly. I don't have one. I mean, I just can't think of one right now. So
Right.
I'm sorry, but
All right,
you know what?
let's wrap
We
it up, guys.
well, hold on a second. We're me and Daniel were talking about this. I think we're going to cut down our tech tips, though, guys.
Oh.
So we're not going to come down. We're not going to run out of them, dude. You know
Not
what I mean?
me. I'd never run out of tech tips.
All right, you go. Okay. Well, anyways, I don't have any. Me and Vinny will come strong next week. So.
Hey, let me do a tech tip for Mike real quick. I'm telling
All right,
you,
go ahead.
and Mike will agree with me on this. If you guys are out there advertising, you guys are making crazy long videos for your customers to watch. I'm gonna tell you something. They ain't gonna watch them. You gotta have like a small video, okay? I'm telling you, 15-second videos are the new up and coming thing. You guys see the one I did with the tactical PDR tool? The thing got like 5,000 plus views, 60 some shares because everybody got every ounce of information in 15 seconds. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but the attention span now, guess what the attention span was back in 1980, guys? Take a guess. 1980.
2 hours.
Close.
No.
It was, guess, Mike.
2 minutes.
No way. I'm like maybe 3 minutes, dude.
No.
way.
It was 20 minutes was the attention
well,
span
cause
in
video-
1980. Okay,
Probably
now,
because video wasn't popular then. That's probably why.
right. But guess what the attention span is today?
I'm gonna say 30 seconds, dude. Seriously.
9 seconds.
Okay, there we go.
9 seconds. So I want you guys to remember that when you're out there marketing, when you're out there doing something crazy wordy, nobody is going to even look at it unless you can capture their attention in less than 9 seconds. Okay? So boom. Take that home, capture their attention somewhere out in social media, and then direct them back to your website. If they're interested, they'll watch the 20-minute video you just made.
Okay, all right. Now you got me on you got me a tech tip. Okay, Ryan, you might want to use this one too. So,
Yep.
You guys, look, if you guys are gonna start doing some advertising, what's his name's making faces over there. I would, if you do advertising, very simple, very clean, and very professionally. And that means pictures, not a lot of words, but straight to the point. I mean, I've been really, really marketing myself on making my stuff very clean and powerful in the way it is. And that's the new way you got to do it. You cannot have a lot of crap and fit a lot of stuff. I'll tell you something. The other day, you guys see my RAV4. I don't have paintless dent repair all over it. I don't have pictures. I don't have all this stuff. I just have dentimemylogo.com. Guess what? I was in a parking lot the other day. You know how many people asked me for a card? 15. I almost ran out of cards because I didn't
Mike,
have much.
I'm glad you're following suit. Finally, I told you for years to get that wrap out for your car, man. It's the same thing. I still have my
No.
old broken
Well, I learned
HHR.
back in the day.
I got my broken HHR still, but all it says is dents no DNM, dents no more. Not a phone
Hey.
number, nothing. I get stopped all the time.
Yep. Less is more, though. Seriously.
All right.
But you got to do it right. So that's it. That's my
Hey,
tech thing.
that's great stuff, guys. Great stuff. So we're going to go ahead and cap out this episode with Ryan Hampton. I do want to say for all the Golden State Warriors fans, thank you all for the ass kicking we just delivered to you. And thank you, Vinny, for being my biggest adversary on here because we delivered you an ass kicking. And when we were down 3 games, and you told me to give up, and I didn't. So there you go. We didn't. We
Hey,
won.
hold on a second. I was right
You
with
did it.
Oh,
It was fixed.
Yeah, Curry missed that last shot on purpose, I know. So
Absolutely. Just for
Hey.
the spread in Vegas.
Ryan, thanks a lot. Just taking your time, dude. Come on the show, man. You
Yes,
said-
thanks,
I had
Ryan.
fun.
Thanks for getting on here, Ryan.
You
Sharing
know,
your
I've got
wisdom.
I've got that new retail spot in St. Louis. If you guys want to show a demo on how to get a guy in advertising just like that, I'm the perfect demo for you. He went
Yes.
from nothing to everywhere in 6 months. You can too.
there you go. There you go.
all right, y'all. We appreciate you. Love you a long time. Go on over to pdrtooltime.com and check it out. And Vince wants to tell us real quick. He's got some T-shirts for sale.
Oh, no.
Well,
Well,
that
yeah, I
too.
do have
That
a T-shirt.
too.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I was just going to tell Ryan to hang on after the show. But yeah, get online and order up a T-shirt. That's how we pay for this program.
All right, guys. We love you a long time. See ya.